Hello, it's Sandy from Ledoux Designs, and tonight I wanted to play with this adorable little panda painter. Although I'm not a painter, I am a painter of Copic ink. I guess you could call it painting, coloring, you know, it all goes together. Hi Cheryl. So this little panda is so adorable. And it says, I love you. I arted, you color my world and pour your art out. So I thought it would be super fun to color him up and make a really cool, like, paint splatter background to go with it. Hey, Danny, Cheryl, Michelle, good to see you guys here. And I thought we'd use, you know, these splatters to put some color all over there. And I have this high sentiment left over that, I don't know, I might use that, or I might just use the stuff in the stamp set, but this is what we're going to use. And then I thought we'd stamp the splatter background or do something background with Distress Oxide. So I pulled the colors for that. And then I want to use this. This is Art Anthology Ice Spray, and it pretty much just makes the whole thing sparkle, which, I mean, how could you not want that, right? So we're gonna do that as well. So in that case, I needed, ta-da, I needed a masking. So we'll color the panda and then we're gonna mask him up like this so we can play around with and do something super cool with the background. Now we are gonna need like a matte for this because I cut it a little bit smaller. So we'll choose that color after we decide how the background looks, and then we'll choose a pattern paper or a solid paper to be our border. So without further ado, I have not pulled my colors yet, so we'll do that in a second. This is Gina K Designs masking tape. So I like it. It works really good. It usually has a tear in it, so a cut in it, so you could just peel it really easily. Depending on where you put it on here, the cut is down the middle. So as long as you have that on your backing, it's really simple to remove. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put my little inks to the side because we don't need those right this second. All right, I had to clean off a few little thingies off my desk because I'm making bags for the other contestants at the MegaCon, which we leave for on Thursday morning really early. So I've been working on making bags for their little gifts. So I had to stop to jump on here. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we want our panda to be black and white, and generally speaking, I like to use the C's, the cool grays for this. So we're going to need really dark for the spotted areas. And look, they did all the work for us. This artist did all the work for us. Yay! And then we need the light colors for the outside of the panda. So I'm going to choose 3, 1, and 0, 0. Where is that? In Florida. So in Orlando, we'll be in Orlando Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, it's going to be fun. So for the dark, I grabbed C10, 8, 7, and 6. So we'll use those and then we'll decide on the other stuff in a little bit. Hey, Angela. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so that we're close up. For those who are looking on their phone, with their phone, I want you to be able to see too. I'm going to use C1. Hi, Meg. And I'm going to put the C1 in the whites of this little panda's eyes real quick to start off with so that it has lots of time to dry while we're coloring the rest of the panda. We are going to put him a little bit of color in his eyes, though, for sure. And then I'm going to use my colorless blender. Hey, honey. To blend that out. Can you bring my... there's an open one in the fridge. Thanks. I forgot to get myself something to drink before we got rolling here. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. But everybody brings something usually from their state that they're coming from for the show. So I've been making the cards and the gift bags that we're going to use. So we're going to start with the white parts just so we don't pull any black into them. So I'm going to go ahead and start with C3. I'm just going to get rolling right here in the middle of his face. And then I'm going to go around and just kind of brush stroke towards the inside. I don't want him to be extremely furry, but I do want it to look like he does have some fur around him. So the artist kind of put in some lines as guidelines so you'd know kind of which direction they were intending for the fur to go. So I'm just kind of following that. I'm going to make this part right here a little bit smoother and not so fluffy. But we are going to do some fluff up this side as well. A little bit under his chin, but that'll get less fluffy as we go along. And these will get a little bit more, so just want to get that in there. Oh, good. It looks like you can really see the C3 on here tonight. So I'm going to give him a little bit of fluff back here on his little hiney. And his little tail. Just going to put a little bit on the tail. I want it to be really light and a little bit different than the rest of him. So just keeping those parts separated. So I'm going to start from down here. I turned my image upside down to make the brush strokes a little easier. Sometimes if I haven't colored today, I've been working on a bunch of other stuff, crafting and things like that. Some days I need to pull towards me on my brush strokes, and some days I need to go away from me. So I just have to kind of start testing it out and then turn it to the way that works best. And I realized when I was doing the top that it was a little easier to go away from me. So I turned him around. Hey, Jana, thank you for joining us. Hi, Sandra. Isn't he just the most adorable little dude? So this little panda I got when I went to the Jen Dove retreat back in August, I think it was. And I haven't had a chance to play around with them, but I really wanted to do a very artsy card with lots of crafty stuff on it.
It's like Sandra stuff's going to MegaCon.
Oh, and Sandra, I should tell you that with almost every card that I made for the contestants is from your stamps. And then one of them is an image that I drew, but the rest of them are all your stamps, so they are going to Florida with me.
Her Mario themed stuff worked out great because two of the contestants have a Mario theme.
Yeah, can you guys hear that? Two of the contestants had a Mario theme, so the Mario cards I was working on for them is going to be absolutely perfect. Those cards are all ready, and the bags are almost ready. And I can't assemble the bags because I built the bag myself, and it's not a die cut. So I'm making them, handcrafting them, so I have to leave them a little bit unassembled to get them in the luggage, so I can take them on the plane, and then I already put all the tape on them so I can assemble them when I get there. So I have it already ready. So even though the Panda is white, you can still use the really, really light grays to give it that white look. And it looks dark right now, but when you put the darker colors, like in the eyes and such, it's gonna look even more, wait, I can't say that. It's not gonna look more better. It's gonna look even better, because it won't be as noticeable. It'll look white, even though it really is gray. Nothing is really void of color, so there's always some in it. There's always some color. I'm going to soften down here a little bit because I don't want that to look so much like so furry. Giving me Lisa Franks. He's giving you Lisa Franks vibes. Yeah, he is. Wait till he finishes, because he is making a mess. I'm telling you, he is going to be making a mess, because crafty is no fun without mess.
I tested that.
Dale attests to it's no fun if there's no mess. Because you guys,
when I get back.
He's got a big cleanup in his craft area when he gets back. I have been trying to bite my tongue about doing any kind of cleaning up for him until he gets back. He's been so busy. But his costume updates and changes and cool stuff are all done, so it's exciting. Regardless of the outcome of the contest, we're just going to have a super fabulous time when we're there. It's what we really are just going to enjoy. All of the fun time.
And a trip to Universal Studios.
Is such a true statement, yes. And we just found out last night we get to go to Universal Studios while we're there, so we're really excited. I'm going to use my colorless blender just for one last pass over this, just to get it smoothed and make it, lighten it just a tad. I'm not using a lot of pressure, but I just want to add this in just a little bit. There we go. And when that dries, it'll look a little bit lighter than it does right now. It's like that because it's wet. It's factual in your mind. All right. So now it's time to switch over to our C10, C8, C7, C6. So we're going to start with the C8. The 10 will come back in at the end and add some thick dimension to it. So that's why we chose to add the C10. Good thing my markers aren't dirty. I can put them on my paper. Okay, C8 is next. And what I'm going to do is focus on getting real close to those eyes without going into the eye. I want it to look like there's some depth right around the eyes. I want them to stand out a little bit more because he's going to look so excited to be doing what he's doing in his little crafty. He's going to be painting a whole wall of craftiness. I don't know if you guys like do your kids' rooms yourself. Beg you to make the biggest, brightest, loudest card ever. I agree. It's going to have some color, that's for sure. I only pulled purple and pink for the outside, but I have a feeling we're going to go way bigger than that, especially now that we have the request. Maybe we'll just get some rainbow going on. So I'm doing up underneath his face. His face would be in front of his hand and arm here. And then this part of the paintbrush is shadowing a bit. Go big, go big. Now, you could make this a much quicker, easier color if you don't work on all of the details, but that's just not me. I'm a detail girl. I like to add all that extra stuff in there. You know, that's just how I roll. All right. Yeah, every time I look at him, he's just cuter and cuter. He was cute without color. He's even cuter with color. He's actually going to be in my book. I know you guys have been following that book that I've been making. Well, I had to start a second one, so he's inside the book too. I just haven't colored him yet. He's going to be page 1. You love watching me color? Thank you. I love to color. I love to color. I sometimes color from the time I get up until I go to bed if I have a lot of stuff to work on. And I've been working on that book. I mean, I'm already on book number 2, and I just started it like January. I mean, it only took me 1 month to do all the pages. I think there's 6 left that aren't colored, and all the rest of them are. So it's like your ASM. That's funny. My daughter's boyfriend, he shoes horses, and that sometimes I'll watch his videos for the ASMR of shoeing the horse. Since I missed some of your lives, what is the book? Oh, you want to see it, Danny? Give me 1 second. Let me finish with this C8, and then I will show it to you. It is awesome. I might build like a class out of it if I have a lot of interest, if people are wanting to learn how to do it so they can have their own. I've been kind of working on that in the background, so keep that in mind, because you might, if you love it, you might want to do it. All right, one more place, his little nose, I'm going to put the darkness underneath. So there we go. Oh, you missed it too? Okay, hold on. We're going to zoom out just a little bit so you guys can see it. So this is book number 1, okay? This is from the Sassy Club, and it has paper in it that you can Copic color on. So I started this book in January, by the way. Page 1 and 2 are not colored, but the rest of it, all the way down to the last couple of pages. So all of this is colored. So I started off with the live about the little Snow White and 7 Dwarfs, and what I wrote over here were all the colors that I used to make that combination, and I did it with every single one of them so that I can do them on shorts and speed coloring videos. These are images I drew. There's a few of them in there as well. Yeah, so these are the images that I drew, and then the rest are the Sassy Club. The images are small and they're easy to color, and so if you see any in there, for sure you'll be seeing them on the live or on a speed coloring video. This is one of my favorites. Look at this. I just love this thing. Isn't it just cute? I've colored it so many times and I just love it. When I designed this book, I put the name of the stamp company, the name of the stamp set. If I know what the image name is, I write it on there. And then this little hexagon shape right here is for once I do a video, once I record a video, I check it off. That way I know that there's a video done for that one, so I don't have to worry about that. And I used my, don't judge me, I told y'all I have a I have a firm hand. But anyway, I used this amazing stencil that you can get at the Sassy Club. I broke it because I'm really rough on stuff, but I have another one coming. But I love it. I used these little designs here in this triangle right here. I used these, so they're my bullet points and the hexagons and the squares, and then I used the outer shape to make the boxes. So when you buy this book, it is empty like this. So you can build your squares, triangles, rectangles, you know, whatever design you want to design your page. So some of them have a bunch of images, some of them only have one, just whatever works for you. You can build it all through here. And then I just have a couple of more. This is my Lord of the Rings I'm working on. So anyway, that book is almost done, but I knew if I was taking anything with me to Florida, I would need to have more stamped. So this is book number 2. And this is going to make, I mean, I already have like 16 speed color videos and card making already ready just because I had done this book. So this is going to be book number 2. This is me arting. And like I said, there's nothing colored in this one, but it is stamped. It's got all my Whimsy stuff and everything in it. And this one is done to right here. There's even a little divider here. And then I have all of this for whatever images I buy now. Yes, I'm a ninja. Lord of the Rings, I know, right? So I'm really excited about this book. And I think you could build it however you want. But if you watched, you know, a video and you wanted to write the colors, or you went to my YouTube channel, I put all the colors on there. And I do use the stamp sets sometimes as the bullet points. But you could make a book like this for yourself. You can color right in there. And I know you're going to say, what happens if I make a mistake or I don't like how it was colored? Then all you have to do, and that's happened to me, or what if I stamp it wrong? I'm afraid to stamp it. If you stamp it wrong, it doesn't matter. You can just stamp it on coloring paper, cut it out, and stick it over top of the mistake that you made. So this one I stamped like a double stamped. So I just went ahead and cut out one on regular paper and stuck it in there. Nobody's going to notice, and it's your book anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I did that on a few of them. But basically, I just played around with it, and I colored in it, and now I'm on book 2. I'm so excited. How do I travel with my markers? Well, most of the time I drive, but probably what I'll do is take the Olos with me because it's less markers, and then I know they'll be safe and secure, and my Copics will be at home resting from all the coloring I've been doing with them. But I almost always travel with some markers. Now I'll be taking my iPad too because I need to work on some artwork for somebody who hired me for some artwork. And I need to work on that, so I'll be doing that as well. But I don't like to be without my markers because, as my husband said the other day, you know, if you don't take some, you're going to sit there in the hotel room and say, I wish I had my markers. I wish I had my markers. Because if I ever try to go without them, I always regret it. Always regret it. Because I love to color every day, and when I don't get to color for a while, it makes me sad. So, anyway, I love that book, and I'm telling you, you can get it at the Sassy Club. I will tell you that it does take a little bit of practice to get used to coloring in that book. The paper is, of course, different, and every time you change paper or markers, you have to get used to how they behave. So just keep that in mind. But once you get the hang of it, you can just roll with it. And it's just super fun. And you can't mess it up. And you can always get another one. And Like I said, I started mine in January. It's only the first week in February. I already have one book done. I guess the trivia question should be, how many books do you think I'll end up having? I take markers on the airplane. I just don't put them in the, I just don't put them under the plane. I like them to be with me. I don't want to take any chances of the luggage getting lost or damaged or anything like that. So I just take them in my carry-on. TSA usually stops me depending on what I put the markers in when I travel with them. I usually use, I have like these bags that open up as a pouch and they zip at the top or they clasp at the top. And, but then that puts all the markers like this. So when it goes through TSA, it kind of looks a little bit like the inside of a bomb. So they always stop me and want to see in my bag. But once they see it's alcohol markers, then they just say, okay, have fun. I've never had any problems with traveling with him. But I prefer driving, although this trip was paid for by the Dallas Fan Expo, so they booked all the travel. We're just going, so we didn't get to pick whether we drove or, you know, whatever. So they booked us on a flight, so we'll just be flying. But I'll keep in touch. There'll be some notes in the group to let you guys know how it's going, that we got there, all that good stuff. I'll keep you guys updated so you know you're safe. But there won't be a live on Thursday night. We can't do a live because I can't do that from the hotel. So C6 is the last color, and I'm just going to blend these out. So I'm just going to do a little bit of that back and forth to get this color in there and kind of soften that. I want you to see the different shades, so I'm not putting too much, but if I need to, I'll go where the last color stopped and the next color started, just to show, you know, to smooth it out. I'll just do his little eyebrows here. I will say, though, not just if you were ever curious about, you know, taking them on the plane, do not try to color with them on the plane. I made that mistake once. It did not turn out well. There we go. So what is the trip for? I must have missed if you said it at the beginning. Oh, no, that's okay. It's the, it's Dale's cosplay costume contest for the finalists in Florida. It's been coming for a while. Dale won Best in Show back in, was it June, honey?
June. Back
in June. And this is the competition for everyone who won at all the Fan Expo shows throughout the year of 2024. And they'll all compete against each other for the grand prize, first place of all of them. It's that time again. Yep. Yep. It came around faster than we thought. It'll be this weekend. I don't have to do any work. I'm going along for the ride. Yes, I wish him luck too, but you know, you just never know. You know, it depends on your judges and what they know about what you did and how well they know, you know, how much time it took for you to do it, and everybody's costumes. I mean, clearly they're going to be all fabulous because they've all won Best in Show at their location. So we'll be representing Dallas, Texas. So yeah, it's going to be a tough competition. All right. So I want to use my multi-liner on the inside of his eyes, and I think we're going to go in with that C10 and build just a little bit of depth. The lighter colors have washed out the eyes just a little bit. I mean the shadows just a little bit, so we're going to go in and work that up a bit. So I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Right now I just want to get this in the eyes so it can dry, and then I can put a real light little color in there in his eyes. See how much better that looks when you use the multi-liner? Yeah, it is really cool. I mean, we were so excited when he won. I want his little nose to stay lighter, so I didn't color that all the way in. I'm gonna actually use my C1 to just make it so it's not white, but it will smooth that spot out and leave his nose just a little bit lighter on the tip. And we can use the white gel pen, same purpose of that. I guess we could have made his tail black too. I couldn't decide. What do you guys think? Do pandas have black tails or white tails? I'm really not sure which way to go with that, but let's go back in with the C10 and build just a little bit of depth. So this is darker than the darkest color we used. And remember I said I wanted to leave some depth in his eyes. So I'm going back over this area right here. Just a little bit. Just to build in a bit of depth there. Now you're going to be able to see that, so we are going to have to smooth that out just a little bit.
You can tell her I chose to wear the same one, but I added two things to it.
Google says whitetail. Thank you, Jana. Does he make a new one, or does he have to wear the one he won with? Well, he could make a new one, but since it usually takes 8 or 9 months for him to build an entire costume, he opted for doing upgrades to the current costume he has. So he's built, like, I mean, I don't want to talk about all the pieces just yet because it'll be a surprise for people at the show.
That was a lot cheaper.
But he went the route of enhancing what he already had, building more stuff to go with it. So it's pretty cool. I can show you some of this stuff when we get back if you guys want to see it on the live, but I'll put pictures. I'll take pictures of him at the show in costume on Saturday and post them so you guys can see. They are mostly white with a touch of black close to the body. Oh, the tail has a little bit of black in it close to the body. Well, you can't even see that part of his tail because it's hidden based on the way he's standing. So I'll just stick with the white. Thank you for Googling that to tell me. I wasn't for sure. Not that you have to be correct based off of real life, but I like to keep, I don't know, I have a thing about that. I like my stuff to look like it's supposed to look like. So when we come back in, we'll come back in with like 7 to soften those edges, and then we should be good. We won't have to do all the colors again, I don't think. I think we'll just have to do that one to soften our transition areas. We're going to put a little bit on the bottom of his feet. Just a little bit. All right. So now this is going to build in because this got kind of light when we were adding the other colors. So I just wanted to put some of that depth back in there. So I'm just going to soften these edges a bit. And it should be enough to keep that looking just fine the way it is. Yeah, I think that looks good. We'll do the same thing with this. We're just touching it a little bit. There we go. Perfect. So if you're, like, I could have started with C10 and it probably would have done fine, but I wasn't sure and I thought 8 might be enough. But I like it better now. So I'm kind of glad we did that. Just a little bit. And it's okay to leave some of those lines in there. We don't have to smooth them out completely. I mean, he is a furry little dude. But see how the depth just helps a lot? I really like that. Okay. So now we get to pick what kind of paint he's coloring with. But that, just because he only has one paint can doesn't mean that the whole thing has to be, I need to put these books back up there. Doesn't mean that that's the only color we can use on the background. The touch of black. Okay. So we are going to allow that, we are going to leave this as one paint color, but it's going to be like he's just on his last color. We're still going to put other colors in there. Okay, so you know I have to do purple, right? Because you guys just know me. I just have to do purple. I want his brush to be brown though. So we're going to use a few different colors here. I'm grabbing them now so I can tell you. So the handle is going to be E27, 25, 23. But I think this metal part right here needs to be the C3, C1, C00 that we used on the Panda. So I'm going to start with C3. I'm going to put it on the edges and a little bit in the center. I know that's probably hard to see on camera, but when it's all said and done, you'll be able to see it pretty well. So just softening it. The last color is going to be the colorless blender because I want to just go down the middle like this and just kind of lighten that up for a highlight. And I think that'll do it. You'll be able to tell more when we get some color in there, but holding it up, hopefully you can see that there's some shading going on in there, in that little tiny spot. Now let's go ahead and do the paintbrush. So you don't usually see like the wood carvings in a paintbrush, or I haven't. I think usually paintbrushes are solid like this, just a solid color. So that's what we're gonna do, is just solid color. That was E27, this is E25. And then E23. There we go. Oh, so cute. All right, so we also need like this part of the can and the bottom part. We're gonna make that gray as well. So I'm gonna use that same C3 on the handle. And it's okay if we get it on the can, because we're going to pick a color to make the can. It's going to be different than the paint though, because then it'll just be, it'll all look the same if you don't have a different color on the paint can. So C1. And then 0, the colorless blender 0. I find that using the 0 softens that between the dark and the light, but it also picks up a little of that gray from the darker and spreads it, so it really does soften the whole thing up very nicely. And let's keep with that same motif. Let's use the same, let's use brown for the outside of the can, so we can stick with the same markers. We're just going to add E29 to the group and then use the same browns as that. But to make it look just slightly different, we're going to use the E29. So we're going to put some shadow up in here between these little paint drips. You know, we might just have to draw our own paint drips on here with our colors. I am tempted to do this background in Copics instead of oxides. What do you guys think? You want me to oxide blend the background? I do have some stencils I could use. Or do you want me to Copic design the background? What do you think? I mean, it's a piece of art. It can be, the background can look any way you want it to look. Hi, Darlene. Are you still studying hard? Is that why we haven't seen you in a bit? E27. I wanted to make the paint can be a little bit darker so it stands out a bit from the panda. And I want to put a shadow underneath this little bar right here, but we have to be really careful not to cover up the gray. So I'm using, I'm holding the marker upright so I get really small, thin brush strokes. All right, 25 is next, E25. And I'm okay with leaving it a bit darker up there just so it has some dimension. So I'm not really blending that completely out. I am going to do along this so I don't mess it up when I have my E23 out. There we go. And then E23 is next. I've just been talking up a storm. You guys are quiet. E23. Nobody's comment. They don't care if it's oxide or Copic. Nobody has an opinion. All right. Just into watching and listening. No opinions on the background, huh? I better leave this C1 handy in case you want it to be a Copic background. All right, so I'm moving those markers out of the way now so I can pull out some colors. And you think both the backgrounds will be great, so you don't know which. I know, I really want to do the oxide because I was going to spray it with the sparkly spray. But I could still spray the Copic background. Okay, so we could build it with rainbow-ish colors, or we could let's just do a few colors. So let's do my favorite purple, just because, you know, hey, it's my favorite. So the purple is going to be V09, V17, V06, V15, and V12. So we have that going for us. And then I want to do a bit in the pink, so I'm going to select RV 19, 17, 14, and 13. So it's going to be a little bit like a rainbow, but with different colors. Instead of being primary colors, it's just going to be softer colors. And then, let's see, maybe green would look really good with that. I think we need a really good green. So let's go with G99, YG67, YG17, YG03, and then we'll use YG01 as well. Team Pink, hashtag Team Pink. See, I'm Team Purple, so this is gonna work out great. All right, so I think I've decided Copic it is. I'm going to grab an extra piece of paper here real quick. It's not a Copic coloring paper, but I want to see. I was trying to decide if I think I want it to be, I was going to practice real quick, but I think we're just going to wing it. Okay, this is C1. We're going to sketch out a little bit of stuff in C1. So this is going to be the purple. I want him to be standing on something. So we got to give him a floor. Now we'll go over this C1 with the colors when we're doing it. He's so stinking cute. He is, isn't he? Wait till we put the gel pen and the colors in his eyes, and he's going to be amazing. And then I think we're just going to paint like the whole wall. So, but he's going to be a terrible painter. So he's going to have some, and it's not going to be even. It's just going to be scattered. This is going to be one color. Then over here on this side, so behind him, this is going to be one color, and this will be the color he's working on right now. So the purple will be in the middle, the pink, and the green. So it looks crazy right now, but it's really just giving us that base for what we're doing. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to start with our pink. Hashtag pink. We're going to start with RV19. And he is not going to be a very good painter. So we're going to use a little bit of this. Some is going to have darker and some areas lighter in others. And I think when we come around this side, let's do it like some drippage. Like, I guess it should go something like this. We'll just see as we go along. I don't really know. But I want to make sure I have some in there so we can kind of see it. Now we're going to come in with our next color, which is RV17. This is so random. Splats, we'll put splats over it because there are splats with his, I definitely want this bottom to be dark enough. And I kind of want that to be fairly straight. So I'm going to work on that. There we go. And then up from there, you know how when you paint a wall, I don't know if you've ever painted, but I have. And when you paint, you got to be careful you don't have a streaky wall. But it happens. He's not going to have a very good smooth wall, that's for sure. He's going to have some drippy paint. Trust me, it looks terrible right now, but I have faith that it will look great when we get done. So it'll take some practice. There'll be much more blending going on. And I want this part right here to be a little bit lighter, so I didn't color it in. We'll have to go back and forth a few times with the different colors to smooth it out a little bit. But he is not. He is just doing some artistic talent here. And just like a sky, you have to just keep going over the colors to kind of blend them up a bit. So just bear with me. This is about the only time I use the chisel end because I can cover more area faster so that it stays wet while I'm coloring it. The more wet it is, the better it will blend out. See, it's not even all that smooth. It's all craziness. But sometimes you just have to jump right in and play around and just do it like Nike. Just do it. Just pick something and just do it. And we feels like we already have enough paint in there, but we don't. I don't know that I've used the chisel in 17 years of Copics. I use it on the back. Right now there's a lot of real dark color in there, so I'm going to go back in a few minutes as soon as I put the caps back on these. Soften up this edge a little bit because we're going to put another color next to it. So I'm just softening that edge so it's not such a harsh edge when we get ready to add the next color. This is like a drip of paint. Just a little drip. Because he just spilled his paint all over the place. Okay. I'm going to come back in with my RV19, that's the darkest one, which I kind of want to be along this side of the wall and more at the top. It'll kind of soften that up and make this a much darker pink. Hi, Linda. RV17 is next. Now we're going to go down from where we put that last color and start mixing this in together. Remember, we did this one all the way at the bottom, so we have to work that a little bit as well. I'll show you, I'm smoothing this out, but I'll show you how we're going to make it streaky here in a few minutes. Some of that will happen when we spray the other spray on it, but then we have RV14. So this one, I want to cover it all. So I'm going to do my streak lines up and down the full length of what I want colored. So all, I don't know if you know, but when you paint, you want those to all go the same way. You don't do this and that. You like the same direction for all of your painting. Wish my mom was here. She know how many bedrooms and houses we painted together when I was growing up. One year, my summer task when I was off school for the summer was to paint the outside of the house. Doesn't that sound like fun? All right, now we have pink. We're moving to green on the other end. We're not done with that pink. We're just done with that pink for now. You don't want to oversaturate the paper too much. There's already quite a bit of color in there, so I need to let that dry a little bit. So we're going to come in with this darkest green. And we're going to start building that on this floor area. I'm go around the panda carefully. Because this is the area you have to be really careful with, because you do not want to color green in your panda. That is for sure. This is our shadow behind the panda. Right to about here. And then maybe a tad bit right here. Now his ear looks funny. I used to paint houses with my dad in the summer. See, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Us painting. Painting houses. I mean, I won't say it wasn't fun. I mean, some of it was fun. YG67, which is when my kids were younger, why I always painted their rooms when they wanted different color rooms or different designs. I always painted their room, the bathrooms, all the, whenever we wanted, you know, to change the color or design, I always did it myself. So building in this green. Need to cover up some of that really dark green with this lighter color, because we are going to move brighter with this green. And we're going to come all the way out here with it. And then it's going to come down like this. Making that up. No rhyme or reason. Just making that up as I go along. Maybe we'll use some colorless blender and stamp the splotches on there with the colorless blender. I think that would be fun, don't you? A little grass stained panda. All right, so now we're going to move on to the YG17. This starts bringing in a little bit more of that yellow color, so it's going to be a little bit brighter. Still going to stay dark right behind the panda because he's all in shadow over here. And then we'll get lighter and lighter. My least favorite part about doing these backgrounds is when the marker sticks on the edge of the paper. Then it drives me crazy. But yeah, when I'm doing a background, I use that chisel end a lot. Just cover more ground faster. Probably not going to use the YG01 unless we go over the whole thing with it. So it's just going to be too light, too much contrast. So far, I like it. You guys like it? I'm liking it. I can see where it's going. So I'm excited. We will have to go back in with the colors again, but we probably won't use the darkest one the second go round. We'll have to soften this area out here a little bit too. But I think this one is light enough yellow-green. Maybe too much, I'm not sure. We just have to see how it looks when we add it in over here. I mean, I do generally like these colors blended together. Oops, I want to stay going this way. This will kind of lighten that color up a little bit. Paper's not as saturated as it was on the pink side, so we're still good. All is still good. This is all right behind him, so that's going to stay pretty dark. You do like it? So we're going to start working on those transition spots to see if we can blend some of that out, or if we need to bring back in the second to the last color, which I think we're going to have to, but not as much as I thought. This is what happens when you wing it, when you wing a background like this. It's A-okay. All right, so let's leave YG03 open and let's grab YG17 again. And we gotta put some in here. Now that the paper's saturated with the lighter color, it's gonna work out. It's gonna do this blending really well. So we're just gonna stick a little bit of this color in there. It's almost like it would be if it was a tip to tip, just using the marker instead. Now coming back with that YG03, because it's much lighter. I like that color. This is okay to be darker down here because it's in shadow. And then we're going to work on this right here because we need a little bit of help right here. We got a little bit of too dark from right there, so we're going to try to work that. We're going to work these edges and try to soften those a little bit. I kind of like it darker and streaky like that because it looks like he's not the best painter. Which I'm sure I wasn't the best painter either when I was young. But I like it. It's really bright and pretty. I still want to work, this is YG17 again. I still want to work on this transition spot just a little bit more. Let's try going from the other direction and see if that helps a little bit. I don't want to lighten that. I like that the way it is. Or darken it. I want to leave that alone. Just want to get rid of this transition spot. Alright, so back with YG03. Much better. All right, so some of it's dry, some of it's wet, so some of it you'll see reverse Mexican flag. Yeah, it does kind of look like that. Although once I put purple in, it won't look like that anymore. Okay, we are going to use the YG01, and we're just going to do that, go over the whole thing. So starting here, remember we're just doing that back and forth, straight up and down, no changes, just like we did on the other side, so we can keep all our strokes going in the same direction. And then I'll just put a little bit of this YG01 in there. There we go. It's so pretty. Hi, Heather. Okay, next we go to do purple. All right, so V09 is going to be really dark. So I'm going to work on the V09 from the top, and then we'll work down from there. And it's okay if it's not, it doesn't have to be perfect. We've got all kinds of squigglies. Wouldn't you like to have a room where you painted wherever you wanted to paint? I'm going to leave a little space in between these so we can use some of the other colors to soften the transition. Same with here. And we're going to go down to the bottom and we're going to start working on this splotch right here. He is making a big old mess. probably could have colored the inside of that gray, but we're going to just make it all purple. Like, he has just made a humongous purple mess. I don't know about you, but I always made a mess with my paints. I was terrible with keeping those paints all nice and clean. I'm going to do just quick, thick brush strokes down because it will help with that blend just a little bit better, which is why I built that little wall on this side. And then I'm going to work this transition spot one more time. And then that way it might help with that blending a little bit better when we move to the next color. So this is V17. V17, much lighter. Start working that little transition spot there. And yes, this is much, much lighter, but the next color is going to be darker and it's going to have pink in it. So it's going to help on that pink side. There we go. That looks very nice. He's doing the best. Good night, Danny. He's doing the best with his purples. I wonder why. All right, we have to start on the bottom because we have to start the paint usually pools at the bottom sometimes where the baseboards are. So we got to get some of this color down here, and then we'll start working on the next one. We also have to put some in the paint. What kind of like that separation right there? It's perfect with that color. I think the color on the paintbrush is usually darker because it's so thick. We'll probably have to add some more VO9 at the end to put some of that depth back in this paint bucket, but it's okay. There we go. It's already looking super cute. All right, next, these are all going to start turning towards a little bit of a pink-ish color. That's the wrong one. We need VO6 next. VO6. See, this is the one that'll transition from that pink to that purple. There we go. Leaving that splotch of paint. Smoothing that out. That goes very nicely. We'll come back in with our pink again and soften that up at the end. We might need some darker color over here. Always hard to tell. Gonna have to use the other end. Cover more space. For some reason, this VO6 doesn't feel quite as dark as it normally does. it's doing its job now. It almost looks like he has two colors in there, doesn't it? It's okay. It won't look like that when we get done. Anytime you mix the pink with the purple, it looks a little funny when you first start out. Around the bear. Around the edge. I'm kind of liking this solid line between the two colors, so I think I'm going to leave it like that. Probably going to need to come in with that V17 and soften that up just a little bit, but I kind of like it like this. I really like that transition. We just got to keep working on this color. We're not done blending it out yet. And every time you allow the paper to dry some and you put another coat over it, it deepens the color. So just like coats of paint, when you dry and you put another coat, it just makes it darker. I promise you guys have seen me color these colors together before, and it's so beautiful when you get done. You just have to be patient through the process. You don't have to worry about the brush or the paint bucket too much because it's going to be purple. This is V06 still. We need a lot of V06. All right, let's bring in V15 and see if we may not even need V12. Nice. This will bring it back to that more purple, less pink color. For our pink lover, probably not a good thing, but for the purple lovers, yay! More purple than pink. Keeping the brush strokes going in the right direction. Oh, this is such a pretty wall. Right now it looks a little crazy because it's more pink than purple. But I think we'll add in some more of that V17 as well. And then we'll go from 17 to 15. We won't do the V06 again. All right, V17, a little bit darker. I'm not going to use the chisel end this time. So I want to build the lines a little bit more definite here. Not straight though. Do you know how hard it is to do a straight line on a wall when you're painting a wall? Really challenging. I like that it has this pink underneath because it'll hold that color. But it definitely needs to be darker. Up from the bottom. Up from the bottom and down from the top. Back and forth, back and forth. That'll saturate the paper really well. Tee-hee. This is fun because you can do it however you want. You don't really have to have any specific rhyme or reason to any of it. You just get to put color on paper. I mean, how fun is that? Unfortunately, you can't do it quite as easily and carefree over here where I want this to look like he has a little drippy paint. I'm doing this with a pressure of maybe 3 or 4 because I want it to put a lot of ink on the paper. Really wanted that purple darker than it was. Now I'm going to work on this part close to the paintbrush. And over here. I decided after the fact I wanted it to be more purple than pink. This is V17, so it's the second one. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit in the paintbrush. But I need to come back with V09 and deepen that paintbrush so it doesn't blend in with the wall. Because if you don't have that darker paint in there, it's going to look just like it does on the wall. It does kind of mix with the wall a little bit. But we'll come back in one more time and put that color in there. Now, I want the paint, the V06 paint I want this paint has to have some V06 in it as well to get the same color as the background. So we're just going to put a little bit in here and then we'll go over it with those other colors. Just like we did the wall. Look at that. So pretty. It can look like his paint's not mixed too. V15. Sorry, I got quiet there for a minute. I was focusing on all that paint. All right, V17 again. No, let's do V09. We got to get some more depth in this right here so you can see it separate from So I'm really just putting the artist lines that were black. I'm just filling them in with this dark purple. I'm gonna make my little drippy drips have just a little bit more color in them. The 17. Not gonna put a whole lot of that in the brush. So I want that brush to remain really dark. All right, the 06 one more time. It'll brighten that up so it really looks like the right color paint. Whatever you do with the top, you got to do in the paint bucket if you want it to be the same color. So you have to be consistent about that. Now I'm going to come back in with my V15, and I'm just going to go along here because it's going to move the paint a little bit because it has more colorless blender in here, just to give a little bit of highlights. So we're just going to kind of build that but still have our purple color. You should be seeing that come to life as I'm doing it. Make that stand out just a little bit more. All right, I have an idea and we're gonna try it. Where is my, here's my block. So we have 3 colors on the background. Here's the stamp set. And we have splotches here. So different size splotches. Just 2 of them, one here and one here. Gonna grab my colorless blender. Hey, honey, can you, oh, never mind, I have a napkin right here. Just gonna draw a blank napkin. This is a technique I don't think we've done on here before. I'm gonna put the colorless blender here. It'll dry fast, so we have to watch what we're doing. We're going to put it on the stamp. And then we're going to place the stamp on here. And what this should do is move the ink around. See? So now we have splotches of ink on there. If you had a pattern of some sort, you can do that. You can do this with that as well. The longer you hold it, the more it'll push the paint away. Pretty cool, huh? I like it. All right, let's try the other splotch. So this is a different looking splotch. I kind of try to put it back in the same spot. All right, a little bit more. Put one right here. There we go. And I'm going to use a little bit more to do one over here. I'm going to use the colorless blender to clean off my stamp. so I can do it in the purple next. And I think I'm going to put both of them on here. Let's see, how do I want to sit them? Let's scoot them over. Trying to find a cute little design here. Oh, I think this will work. And now we're going to use both of them on the purple because it's such a bigger space. The purple is such a bigger space that I want to be able to do a little bit more. Can you see those areas starting to really show up where I put the colorless blender? It dries super fast, so the colorless blender evaporates, so we have to be a little careful when we do it. There we go. Look at that. That one came out really nicely. Nicely done. Nicely done. All right. So what we're going to do is take the colorless blender pen, if I can find it in my madness of colors. And we're just going to work a little bit more out of this area. Just pushing that out a little bit. It'll make those edges show up just a little bit better. See how that is? You can see it working. Don't worry, it'll pull some of the color back in, so it won't be too bad. I'm going to wipe my marker off on paper so I don't pick up the pink into the green. This time on the green one, I'm just going to work the bottom side of it so that the drippy part, so that it looks like lighter on one end, thinner paint. Nice. Okay, this one. So you could do this with the stamp or you could do this with just the pen. Either way you want to do it, you can do it. Oh, I like it. Our sentiment's going to go right there. Okay, now we need to do the floor. So I am going to give it a nice wooden floor. So we're going to use the brown colors like from the paint, but dark. I want it to be really dark floor. So E29 we're going to start with, and that's where I'm going to put in this along the edge where the paint stops. And here, here, and here. And then I'm going to make it look like a wooden floor. Oh, someone's going to be so mad. He got all this paint on his wooden floor. But I mean, after all, you know. He's just going to be happy his room. Even if his floor is painted a different color, he's just going to be happy as a clam. Putting some darker color right up against his feet and around these paint areas. All of this will be shadowing. little thicker here because we have a whole can sitting up there. And then we're gonna do along this edge, expanding that out a little bit. And we're gonna start working with these little lines I put in there, adding a few extra, softening the ones I already have. Next, hi Kelly. Next we have E25. This one I'm gonna make sure I'm doing around the whole outside. It is our around the outside color. We're going to expand on these areas we put in there already. Kind of soften them up a little bit, but still want those lines to be there. And then our E23 will be last. You love this? Yay! Isn't the wall super cool? He's not a very good painter, but he does look like just a little kid. So in my story, his mama said, you can put whatever paint you want on your wall. And so he is just making a masterpiece. And in the end, it's going to sparkle. So it's going to be super fun. So there we go. He is so happy that he gets to do all this coloring on his walls. We're even going to give him a little bit of blue in his eyes. B04. We're just going to put a teeny bit around that little area in his eyes, just so his eyes pop a little bit more. Not coloring in the whole thing, just right around the outsides of those eyes, just so it stands out a little bit. All right, now I have this spray that we're going to use, but before we spray it, we have to cover our panda. And I have my little panda mask right here. But I did not color this, I did not cut this inside area, so I need to make sure I cut that. Doesn't have to be perfectly done, just as long as I get like most of it, because we're not coloring around it or oxiding around it or anything, but we just don't want to mess up our panda with sparkly when we do the sparkle. All the rest of it I cut out already. So we're just going to take this off, this little mask around his feet. And then we can peel this whole piece off of it. So this is a masking piece. If you've never masked, it just is going to cover up our image so we can put stuff like sparkle or other colors without messing up our image. So it's kind of a protective coating there. Oops, I missed. There we go. So I'm going to use my tweezers to help me place that down just so I get that in the right spot. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to use my press pop to rub it so that, if I can find it, oh, there it is. To rub it so that I get that mask on there good enough. Okay, so I'm going to grab my, my splatter tray so I don't splatter color all over the place. So I can put it here and you guys can still see it. So I'm just going to put it in my splatter box. And I'm going to spray this Art Anthology Ice stuff on it. That's just going to give it some sparkle and shine. We're just going to let that dry for a second or two, and you should be able to see, you can look the ink, see how it's splotching? That's why we needed that mask on there, so we didn't jack it up. I think I might even bring in my heat tool to kind of warm that up real quick. So plug your ears. Come on, don't curl. All right, so that is really drying. That's nice. When we glue it down, it'll be completely fine. But look at all the sparkle on that wall. So cool. I love it. All right, so we're gonna need one more color. So this was the background I picked, although now I'm not really sure I want it to be that color. I mean, black and white might look better, you know? Let me see what I have in my stash over here. Brown might look better. I don't know. Hold on, let me see what I got. Let me see what I got here. This is brown. Nah, I don't like the brown. I don't like the purple either, so we're gonna have to come to a different color. But let's go ahead and take this off for the aha moment. Now this is so cute. Look at how he pops. Oh my gosh, you guys, he's so cute. Oh, we need to stamp these words on here. Look at that. I arted. I love Hugh. We're just going to put a bunch of these on there. And you color my world. Isn't that cute? Oh, I think this needs to say, I love you down here. And I think we'll put the hearts up on the top. Sorry, I'm trying to put this stamp back. I think we'll do them in black. There's some little hearts in here, so we're going to use these hearts, all of them, on our thing. I'm going to grab my Misty real quick, as soon as I figure out where I put it. Oh, there it is. All right, here we go. We're just going to stick it in here so we can stamp those stamps on it. Oh my gosh, this little guy is so adorable. You color my world. It's going to go right here. And I love Hugh is going to go right here in the corner. Maybe I'll put that on the floor. Nope. I want it on this. Right there. And then stick some hearts in here. So we'll put one here. We'll put the two little double hearts down here by I love Hugh. And then we'll put you color my world here. And then we can stamp them all at one time. We'll pick up all of our little stamps. We are going to do it in black because he's black and it'll help that stick out. We're going to use VersaFine Clair because it's darker than the Memento. Memento? Yeah. Why did I think that sounded like food when I said it? Look at how cute that is. He got to paint his wall however he wanted. I'm going to put one more stamp of this black on top just to make sure it really stands out. That's why I used my Misty. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy. Oh. All right, now all we have to have is the colors for the card base. So we need a color. I think we just need a black card base like this, but we need something underneath that, which maybe it's just white. Maybe white is just what we need. I think I might have some extras from the scraps I was working with earlier, like this. And then that way it stands out so well against those colors. So let me trim this down to size. I believe I cut this one a 1/2 inch smaller than a card. Yep. So we need to cut the white 4 by 5 1/4. So 4 by 5 1/4. Hi, Beth. And we're going to make it on a black card base. So we're just going to take this. We're going to add a white card on the inside so that people can write in it. Not everyone owns a white gel pen or whatever you want to call it. Or colored pens. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to zoom out a little bit for you guys. We're going to stick that on the inside. We can line it up. There we go. Now we get to build the outside. So we want to put the white one down on top of here. Let's just look at it and make sure we like it before we finish it up. And then we're going to stick this one on top of that. And I think that's going to be perfect. Yay! I like the black and white goes with the Panda black and white. So we could have done a black background and a white base, or a white background and a black base. Hi, Beth. But I didn't have any white card bases cut. I just had black. So that's why I chose to go this route. You love it? It's so cute. Oh, this little panda is so cute. I love this panda. And it's just a small stamp set, so I'm really reasonable. All right, let me get this on here. where I want it centered. This is like a piece of art for someone. Artwork. I'm going to rub this just a tad bit longer than I normally would, just because the paper curled a little bit when we wet it and sparkled it all up and all that stuff. So now when I hold it, can you see the shimmer in there? You can see it in real life, but it's a little bit harder to see. Can you see the shimmer on it? But it's not on the panda. It's just on the background, so it makes the panda stand out a lot more. You love it? I love it too. I'm not gonna lie, I really love how it came out. I like that the background isn't solid, and let's zoom in just a little bit so you guys can really see it. I love that the background's not all the same. It's very, we can add some white gel pen on here. I think it'll make it even better. So here's the little white on top of his nose. And we'll put a little bit on this paintbrush. Maybe up the brush a little bit. So we have some highlights on there. We'll put a little bit on the paint. We can put some on these little hearts. Put some around the rim of this. Just so it stands out a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bit in these whites of his eyes, just so they stand out a little bit better. There we go. I love it. I'm very happy with how it came out. I hope you guys love that too. Remember that I will not be live this Thursday, even though I'm live every Tuesday and Thursday, except that I will be on the road, so I can't do Thursday, but I'll be back next Tuesday. This is the stamp set. It's called the Panda Painter. He's so cute. You can build any background you want with this. If you make a mistake on a page, you can just color this guy and slap him on top of it, and you arted. It doesn't even have to be like a piece of artwork. You can do anything you want with it. Wow, those hearts really look like they jump off the page. Anyway, so I will be back next Tuesday at 8:30 Central Time, and then we'll pick up every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 Central. Can you imagine all the different things we could do with an oxide background on this as well? So much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really did. And I hope you guys have a great evening. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. We really want to build that channel. We greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Good night.